Welcome to Kick 'em in the Head, a podcast that takes an inside look at the world of mixed martial arts, featuring interviews with some of the top fighters from South Africa and around the world, with a focus on the EFC and UFC promotions. I'm your host, Yaw. Join us as we delve deep into the techniques, strategies, and mindsets of these world-class athletes, learning from their experiences and gaining insights into what it takes to succeed in the toughest sport on earth.
Here we are with the amazing, the illustrious, the man that gives us the violence we want, the Graeme Cartmell, the matchmaker of the EFC, bringing us the violence right here. My first question for the illustrious matchmaker himself is, with this fight, the high level of fights that you are producing, what does it take to be a matchmaker and make these high level fights?
It's quite a hard question to answer. I mean, it's a bit of a catch because I think I'm like the only matchmaker on the continent like that does this professionally full time and is a part of the business. So there's no real roadmap or framework for how fights are put on. It's kind of been a work in progress for the last 15 years of how we match fights, what makes sense. I'll tell you what we don't do. We don't use ranking because we found that doesn't yield the best fights, and we're always trying to ensure that we get opportunities for the athletes to build their careers into the UFC. I think if there's a mandate that I'm sticking to at the moment, which is how do I get an athlete to fight the right type of fights for them to be seen by the world and kind of expose themselves and their career to the global market. That's pretty much the be-all and end-all of putting fights together, and that's at the top side. The new guys coming in, completely different. That's a sink or swim situation. We throw guys in the deep end, and if they swim, they swim. And you have to do that in many ways because this is a sport where you can be incredibly good in the gym, beating the hell out of everyone, kicking the head the hell out of everybody, and submitting everybody, but not exactly no results come in the hexagon.
That change into the pro.
It's a very different psychology. It's everything. It is 90. It's all mental. Forget about percentage. It's all mental. It's a mental game. So a lot of guys can't transition.
Wow.
So in putting fights together, first thing we do is we look at division. What makes sense in a division? Who fights who in order to get towards title shots, and then is it an exciting fight?
Yes.
Sometimes we'll look at, okay, that's a really good fight that makes sense divisionally, but it's going to be a crap fight if we put it on. They're not going to. It's two counter strikers, two guys that are. But then maybe you don't have another contender to come up, so you're kind of forced by hand to put that in.
Yes. As we've seen about being a professional matchmaker and one of the only professional matchmakers on the continent, I think we see that in the passion and the precision of the fights that you put on. I mean, the fights that we've come to from EFC 104 to EFC 107 have been electrifying. The striking, the entertainment value, and I just want to commend you as a fight matchmaker. And I just want to say to the people out there, come to the EFC. It is insane. The level of fights we are seeing is beautiful, and the gap that you're seeing in the flyweight division, maybe in the UFC, do you think that was a factor in creating this title fight now?
No. I don't. In matching fights, I don't base anything on the UFC. I think that our guys come along, they churn, they grind hard. The criteria to get into the UFC is pretty simple. And there's a roadmap laid out right here. You get into that hexagon, you become the champion. And you take fights that are going to get you there.
Yes.
Because when Mick Maynard or Sean Shelby look at any athlete, the one thing they're looking at is they go, okay, cool. Well, the three factors I think they're looking at is they're probably looking at where is he fought, which usually you can tell a good promotion versus substandard promotion. Who he's fought in that promotion,
yes,
or in his career. Is there any relevance in, and how active he is? Because you can run a 7-fight winning streak and have fought bumps, and then take a year off because you think you're padding your record and you've got 7 fights in the bag. They're not going to look at you. But if you grind it, which is back to the point, which is we put on great fights, we make sure the guys show up, are professional, and that they get the fights they need to go, look, in my career I fought 10 10 top guys: Cameron Simon, Drickus du Plessis, Gareth McClellan, and Manon Firo, all the people that we've had come through EFC and now top UFC fighters. That's the roadmap. Get good fights, keep active, get going.
That's
Become
amazing.
champion. That's what they-
Yes, that's amazing. I just wanted to ask now, as we're talking about the champions, I hear that there's something about peace happening, maybe coming in for a title fight. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit on that, if you can?
So essentially, our current champion's Mark Q.
Yes.
Very, very difficult fight for anybody because he's a top guy.
Yes.
He is in need of opponents. I do have Jose de Rocha from Brazil who's looking to come out and compete against him. I think that'll be a hell of a fight. Peace is our South African option.
Yes.
So in the event that we don't get Jose Archer or Hume isn't keen on the Jose fight, I will offer up Peace as a contender. I think he'd be a great contender. I would love to see him in one more big name fight.
Okay.
Mark Cumber wasn't. It was a good fight for what it was, but it didn't yield the kind of spark that I would say, oh shit, that's a real contender. Let's get him across the line.
Mm-hmm.
So and for me, Peace has always been a gamer. So he's right up there. He's in the discussion. I just haven't laid out the kind of, this is what's happening. Let's sign it off.
His last fight was a little bit disappointing with the end there.
So hard to fight somebody like that.
Yeah, and we did. I felt it as well in the crowd. There was just this lackluster, energy. And obviously you want him to go from a win into that upward trajectory so we can get that excitement around the fight.
Yeah.
Now moving into the heavyweight division,
Yeah.
we've seen a little bit of a stagnance.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
There's always, the problem is, if I have to go back 8 years, welterweight was our strongest division.
Yes.
Middleweight was massive. We had Jeremy Smith and Liam Clearland and Gareth McClellan, all these top guys. We've had so many guys in welterweight and middleweight. They're always strong divisions for us. Right now, they're not strong divisions.
Yes. It's aging out.
Changes. It changes all the time.
Yeah.
At one stage, we had so many heavyweights. I didn't know how many fights we could put on. We were like, oh my gosh, we just got to put fights together non-stop to kind of yield the winners out of these things and get it going. And yes, the heavyweight division has fallen on that kind of, low end where it's not abundant. There's not a lot of guys in there. But I blame that on the past maybe year and a half of champions that have stepped up, like Tabani and Debele was the first one. And then him falling off the wagon and us not coming to terms on the most silly things. And him falling off that and going overseas. And this is what happens is the guys go overseas and they fight guys that are not beneficial for them. They're not the guys that they should be fighting. In Russian promotions, you're out of your own home, you're far away, and you are not favorable to that country. So they go and do these things, they lose, and then they aren't up at their standard.
Yes.
So to be fair, I would say that was the start of the division getting a little bit weak, but we still have a massive fight in there that needs to be answered. Yes. Triple H, Jacassa and Elvis Moyo have to fight each other.
Yes.
We've offered the fight to both of them. Elvis has accepted. Triple H has declined the fight under the pretense of not keen on fighting Elvis because of all the issues that they had in the hexagon. So that's something we need to iron out, but that's what I want to do. On the other end, there's so many new guys coming in.
Yes.
In heavyweight.
That's
so
the exciting
top heavy and bottom heavy in the middle. We need to beef that up a bit. Yeah, but it's all time, man. It's like we had 2 years of inactivity basically with COVID, and it's taking a long time. But it's happening at pace. It's taking a while to get back up to speed.
We are definitely feeling the energy. And talking about that now, segueing into my next question, where are you looking for the new blood?
Sure. It's so funny. We've just got so many new athletes. It's like I keep on opening up my WhatsApp and checking another gym. I've got 5 new guys we've licensed. So it's coming to us. We're hiring more guys to assist me in the matchmaking department that can go out and actually be with the gyms and be like forward-facing, front-facing with the gyms. So we're here for you and make those introductions, because I think, as EFC has expanded, so has the MMA business, and a lot of guys get lost in the noise, and I don't hear really guys coming to me and saying, hey, I've got an athlete for you, but yet I see them licensed.
Yes.
So I'm like, well, where's the breakdown? We need to actually fix that.
Yes.
And that's why I've hired more people to help, because I'm not able to get around to them.
It's brilliant.
So a lot more guys are coming through, and it's testament to every event. You're getting 3 or 4 new athletes debuting on every event since EFC, since we started again after COVID. Yeah.
It's so brilliant.
I mean, that's where Gift Walker, Nathan Kamana, and Peace, all those guys came. The guys we're talking about now.
Yes.
All of them, Terence Belelo, all of them came post-COVID in the new fray, and they fought in 2 years. They fought like 5-6 fights.
Yes. And when we're seeing people like in the Submission Kings, BJJ circles, and the Versus, I think that's an amateur promotion, we're seeing fighters come out of there, certain titles have changed hands. Are you looking at those promotions in particular for fighters, or not really?
Not so much BJJ Kings, because that's not really, that's more jiu-jitsu tournament. They kind of the standalone jiu-jitsu tournament. If guys want to cross over and they're good enough and they've licensed and we'll take them, definitely.
There's a fighter, Raymond Decut, that's just won a title. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, it's weird. We signed Raymond a long time ago. Then he didn't fight. Then we re-signed him, and he was actually signed on a card. The opponent didn't make weight, and he then didn't take the fight. Didn't want to continue, which understandable. Okay. But then decided that he wanted to do something else. Okay. So I mean, it's like, I don't know if he wants to. I don't know what he wants to do. Yeah. We're here if he wants to fight. I mean, we've always kept an open door. I mean, even pre-Chad, when he left and went across to Brave, and I mean, I've tried to keep the door open. It's hard to communicate with so many people, but hey, we're always here to put fights on if you guys want to fight. Be seen by the world.
I think it's your passion for it that actually makes the fights exciting, and the fights that you put forward very exciting. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think if fighters don't want to walk through the door, you can't make them.
100%.
And 100%. Versus?
Versus cool promotion. I think they are also doing pro fights. They're going to start doing pro fights. I heard via grapevine they're doing pro fights. Nice clean event, run well. I'm not too sure from a like, we'll take. Yes. Absolutely. Like, we're not like we're kind of singling out promotions. We don't need to. If there's good guys, no matter where they come from, if they've proven themselves and they got their license, we're going to look at them. We're going to pay them to fight. That's the reality. I think they also know that if they want, we're the easiest way to get to the big leagues.
Yes. But this is the big leagues of South Africa.
And Africa.
This is the big leagues.
I mean, I'm on a WhatsApp group with a lot of managers, trainers, promoters from around Africa, and I see the standard of their promotion. They're trying to uplift it in conjunction with what EFC's done.
Yes.
And the reality is, we've got the number one contender in the middleweight division in the UFC. We've got a number one flyweight contender in the UFC. Yeah. We've got lots of guys that have come through this path, and we keep raising that standard. I want other people. It's not a zero-sum game. Promoting's not a zero-sum game. If Versus does well, doesn't mean EFC's doing badly.
No, yeah.
It means like, and I've explained this to a lot of people, it's like, we're competing. I'm not competing with anybody. No. We want guys to grow. I want them to get as many fights as possible, so that when they fight for us, they generate as much hype and they enjoy their careers and they make as much money and they do as well and they get there as quickly as possible. So, like, if Versus are producing incredible talent, we'll take them. We want them. If MFC down in Durban's producing talent, we've taken lots of their guys now. We're taking like 5 guys from them through Fats from Silverback and MMA in Durban. Taken 5 or 6 of their guys. Great. Bring the talent. keep them coming. We
Yeah.
love it. We love it. Yeah.
We love it here. We love it here at the EFC. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. I think Yaw has one more question.
More question. Alice Ardelean, strawweight women's champion, my favorite female fighter. When is she coming back to defend that title?
Yeah, so I haven't been discussing with Alice because I think that she's just waiting for me to call her and go, listen, this is where we're going. But Juliet Utker seems to be the lady on the hit list there for her. From our side, I think that fight would be a banger fight, and we're going to try and earmark that for December if we can.
That would be
Get the
awesome.
strawweights going. Yeah, it's a great. It's like same now. Jess who signed with the bare knuckle boxing promotion. Great, awesome. People are like, oh my gosh, she doesn't mean she's not doing EFC. It just means that she's an adrenaline junkie and she wants to go and freaking bash some girl without any gloves. Great, go Jess, go. So we're all for it, and you know we're in support of the guys and girls as long as it makes sense, because they can get swayed by a lot of snake oil salesmen in the MMA world saying this is what's best for you and we're gonna pay you this, and the problem is they like if I have to be honest, I don't think Tipiwa Katikati should have taken the opponents that he got offered at UAE. I think that there should have been a little bit more of a a little bit more of a magnifying glass around those guys, because UAE they're an acronym for the United Arab Emirates. They're not for Africa.
Yes.
So their intention is not to grow African athletes. So if you're going to go there, pick your fights well. Don't just go there and fight. So that's the problem, is a lot of guys get like, there's dollars, I'm earning dollars. Great, but it's not a lot of dollars in relation to a person who's living there and actually in America. But to our guys, it's a ton of cash, but they're also kind of selling themselves short.
Yes, and not developing their career.
Well, if you're going to take a fight for dollars, make sure it's a good fight for you. Don't go, and if they're paying you to fight some badass, fucking demand a lot of money.
Yes.
You know, our guys are going up there because there's managers up in, they don't care. They're like, cool, this guy's 3-0 in EFC. Sign him to go and fight at UAE against whomever you guys want to build in UAE. And that's actually the story, if I have to be blunt. And it's shit, because it's making our fighters look like crap.
Yes.
When they're actually really good. They need to be groomed and worked in an African promotion. But the reality is I don't pay in dollars. So I can't afford it. It's like McDonald's in America is very different to McDonald's here. It's the same fucking burger, but it's a different price point.
Yes.
You know, so the problem is that I think people go overseas, they have this idea that this is great for my career, but they really need to like really inspect the opponents they're getting.
Wow, that is amazing insights, and amazing insights for the fighters. Guys, listen up. And Graeme, if we could do more chats with you and learn more about what the EFC is doing, it would be so brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, and this was it was such an honor to have you chat and listen to what you have to say about the fighters. Eye-opening and just so much wonderful information. Thank you so much again.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.